Hey everybody, welcome back. For my NBA followers, this one's for you. I just want to go over what I'm going to be doing here on the Sorare channel this year. You can expect helpful videos every Monday, and I'll go over what my new subscription service offers. It's going to be $5 a month, and it'll get you quite a few things. Private Discord, ask me any questions you might have, get lineup advice. It'll get you a gallery organizer tool that I will make for you, fitted for your own gallery, auto updating with my projections, both on a daily and on a game week basis. And it'll also get you viewer access to my main sheet. That'll tell you which players' L10s will be dropping, so you can plan ahead if you want to do a little buying and selling, and beat the rush to the market. I will put a link to my Patreon in the show description below. I'll also have some time links in this video so you can skip around if you like, if you want to see different sections, how different things work. To sum up, every Monday I should be coming to you with some useful information. So if you follow me on YouTube and just want to use it for that, that's great. If you do want to sign up, all that information will be on my Patreon, and that link is in the description. All right, let's get into it. All right, so what I do here is I do projections based on past performance data and my own calculations using standard deviations of those past performances, coupled with each player's points per minute average. Multiply that by the amount of minutes I'm projecting them for each particular game. And we'll get a projection for each game. I'm going to go ahead and show you game week 1. The NBA season kicks off on October 22nd. That's a Tuesday, so this will be a Monday through Thursday game week. Biggest thing when you're doing projections is figuring out how to estimate minutes for NBA. It varies every night depending on who's in the lineup and who's out. So the basic premise of my projections is I analyze game logs based on a rolling average. I then estimate the minutes based on current team context, find a baseline projection, and then I analyze the upcoming defense for the game week or for the daily game. And then we use standard deviations of the results to find a normal range of outcomes for each player. So long story short, we know what their high end and low end outcomes are on a normal basis. We want podiums. We want the highest possible score. So basically we're looking at those high end outcomes and we're subtracting each player's current L10 score to find values, try to fit those values into our salary cap. So for right now, I'm just using last year's minutes per game for each player. Once the season starts, we're going to have minute projections on a night-to-night basis, so we'll be using those instead. But just to get us started, we're going to use last year's minutes. I have game logs going back all the way to February 9th. February 9th was the day after the trade deadline, so we have the trade deadline through the playoffs last year. Every game log for every player. It's a big sheet. We've got our schedule, and basically I'll update this every week, and this tells us who's playing and when. So for the first game week, we've got Monday through Thursday. This is the 22nd here. And then we'll have a Friday through Sunday. And I'll update this each week. Team defenses, we're basically looking at Sorare points allowed. So I figured this out from looking at last year's data. Once the season gets rolling, we will use this year's data. So after about a month, I will switch to this year's data, and that will update every day as new game information comes in. Basically, I figure out how many points each team allowed, what the difference is between that team's points allowed and the league average, and then I calculate a defensive factor based on that. For example, if a player is playing against Atlanta, they're going to get about a 5% boost on their projection. If they're playing Boston, they're going to lose about 5% on their projection. And then I have these two tabs at the bottom. One says daily projection, the other says game week projection. Well, let's start with the dailies. This is the opening night. There are only 2 games, so 4 teams playing. Everyone else is going to have blanks here in their defensive factors and their projections and their minutes. These teams have blanks in their minutes right now, so nothing's projecting. Once I put minutes in, you'll see projections for these. Let's say Jalen Brunson was going to play 36 minutes. There's his baseline projection. You see his floor and his ceiling. His L10 is currently 48. So his ceiling minus L10 is 10.04, and we'll be able to compare that to every other player to see where the values are on a night-to-night basis. All right, so you'll be able to see that on a daily basis, and once I get everything entered for the day, I will just sort by this column, so you'll be able to tell who the values are just by coming to the sheet and taking a look. And then we have our game week projection. This automatically inputs the schedule. It will calculate the matchups based on which teams each player is playing. You see some NAs. These are guys that aren't on a team, but over here you'll see which days you're looking at and what the scores are, We're only looking at the top score for each player because we're looking for that ceiling of each player. So for example, we have Peyton Pritchard here. He's got the Knicks, and then at Washington, one of the worst defensive teams in the league. The Knicks, one of the better ones. So you can see his Knicks projection is much lower than his Washington projection. We're going off that Washington projection. Of course, he could have a good game against the Knicks. You never know, but generally we want to look at the matchups. So for Peyton Pritchard, his current L10 of 10, he has a baseline projection of about 20, ceiling of 36.96. So yeah, let's say we're using the average minutes from last season. You got Pritchard. You can use him for your dailies as he plays on opening night against the Knicks. Porzingis out with an injury. You got Duncan Robinson as a 7 right now. There's definitely some value to be had, but really the column we want to look at is the ceiling play minus the L10 score, giving us values to stick in our lineups. You can always play your best players around the value plays. If we want to just find the highest ceilings for game week 1, all we'd have to do is sort by column P. You can see it's Wemby, Luka, Jokic, Giannis, Davis, Tatum, and on down, but a handful above 60, a couple above 70 for a ceiling. Looking over here tells you how many games they have this week, so you can make that decision depending on how aggressive you want to be. Do you want to play somebody who has 2 matchups, or do you trust a really good player like one of these guys who just has 1? This is the main sheet. This is what it's going to look like. And with view-only access, you do have the ability to sort, just like I just did. So you'll be able to see all this stuff, and you'll be able to sort them however you want. Do a little scouting this way. Next thing I want to show you is the gallery organizer. All right, so when you sign up, each of you will get a gallery organizer that I will personally make myself. Basically, this will have a daily tab and a current game week tab, just like the main sheet. This instructions page, you don't have to do anything with. It's just where I import my data from my other sheet. So these just have formulas in them that shoot things over for me. Don't worry about those. I'll take care of all that. And so on the daily page, you'll see projections only for players that are playing that particular day. I'll obviously change this every morning, depending on who's playing, who's not. It'll give you some information on L10s. It'll give you that value metric, the top end projection, the ceiling projection minus the L10. Toggle whether your card is a classic or an in-season. Of course, they're all classics to start right now. But yeah, and if you think, I have a big gallery, this guy's not going to be able to build me a gallery organizer. This is Basilbot. He is one of the heavy hitters here at Sorare, and he's got a lot of cards, and I built his in probably about 2 hours. So, it is some work, but I'm happy to do this for you if you sign up. We just want to get you on board. This tab is the current game week, so basically very similar to the daily tab, except this includes everybody's best score of the week, potentially. You'll see a column for card XP bonus on both of these. I enter that when I put your cards in, but obviously that changes during the season. Kind of trying to keep up on that because it does go into your calculation. And then obviously from this page, you can see your highest projections. I like to keep them sorted by scarcity. So if you're looking for your top plays, your top MVP picks for those lineups, you're going to want to go column A. I like to go Z to A. That puts it in order of unique, super rare, then limited. And then you add a second column and just go by column G. Z to A, putting the top scores at the top. And so you can see his unique cards. Tatum's going to be his best one for week 1. Super rares, he's looking at Wemby and Luka and Jokic far above the rest. So he'll be using those in his MVPs. And then if we're looking at value, he'll be able to see who his best values are. Same kind of sort. Do column A first. And then we'll just go by the value metric, which is column I. And this should show you his best plays in unique, his best value plays in super rare, and on down to rare, his limiteds, which are way down here, figuring out who he has and when to play him. All right, back to my NBA tracker. I am working on something else that's going to be kind of an interesting piece to this Sorare puzzle for us. Basically, it tells us how much a player's L10 has changed game to game. Okay, so what this tells us is when we look at AJ Green, he had some of his bigger games, like this 23.8, come off the books. It lowered his L10 score from 9 to 8 and then to 6. So you'll be able to see trends when players are losing L10 score. Those will be the times to snatch them up because they're obviously more usable. They're easier to fit in lineups with the lower L10 scores. So I'll be able to sort by this, figure out who has lost the most L10 recently, and I'll be able to convey that to you as well. You can go and scoop those players up, either to use or to resell. Last thing I want to show you is the Discord. So we have a Discord that I started for baseball season. I have my baseball members in here right now. Basically, some of them are holding over to NBA and others are not. But I've added NBA channels. I'm going to also add some videos showing how to do different sorts, find different information on the sheet. So we'll have that for reference right here on the Discord. This is a place where we just chat. We discuss strategy. We basically take a look at each week, each game week. I have an audit my lineup place. You can take screenshots of your lineup. I will give you direct feedback on that. And then we also have a place where we just post our wins, show what we won. This is just a hangout basically, but it's a lot of fun. We've had a good year. I had the same guy get first and a second in a limited champion this year. We had multiple top 10, top 5 finishes throughout the season in baseball, and we're looking forward to even better in basketball. When you sign up, I will give you the link to the Discord, rub shoulders with some of the high rollers here in Sorare, pick their brains as well as mine. All right, looking forward to meeting you. If you have any questions, throw them in the comments. I'll be happy to answer them. Love it if you give me a like. Helps that YouTube algorithm find me a little better when people are searching for this kind of information. Hopefully we will see you in the Discord and the Patreon soon. The sooner you sign up, the less time you'll spend worrying about the fact that you didn't sign up sooner. Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you soon.